It's not executive decision. I put the wrong title up there.
I'm sorry.
I
Who have I called? This is this. I think you have the wrong number.
Should I play the right title now?
No. Okay. Can you do that?
I can do that.
Let's rewind this and go back to the beginning and start this over
I
again.
think this is the right one.
There it is.
Ta-da!
That's the right one. Except, of course, that our other brother Adam was in the picture, and he's not here tonight again.
He's not here tonight.
Not here.
He's never here anymore. I don't know what.
He's coming back to the show. I'm pretty sure because he has to, because he left something at the apartment, and he's gonna have to pick it up.
He's got to come back. So, tomorrow is the last day of 2020, and of all the things that have happened, today kind of broke my back. Dawn Wells passed away.
Yeah, I noticed. I saw that today in the news. That was sad. Was she a big deal for you growing up?
Yeah. Marianne over Ginger, definitely. You know, whenever that topic came up, you know, I was Samantha, not Jeannie. Velma, not Daphne.
Uh-huh.
Marianne, not Ginger.
Okay. Right. That's to say, it was
Kate Jackson, not Farrah Fawcett.
I'm with you on that. Right, I was always a Kate Jackson fan. When I was a kid, I was a Kate Jackson fan.
Smart one. I want the smart one with the glasses.
Mm-hmm.
And
is that why you have glasses now?
That is. I don't need these. I see perfectly.
Yeah. And have Kate Jackson. Thanks to Kate Jackson.
Vision, actually.
So, well, yeah, it was sad. Dawn Wells. I hadn't followed her career since Gilligan's Island.
Yeah,
that's the show. Yeah. I hadn't kept up to date with her, but she was great.
I hadn't kept up to date with her, nor did I have a date with her. But but that
that's a completely believable story.
That I did not have a date with her.
I believe everything you're saying. Yeah.
I only tell the truth.
So that was a terrible loss, and another terrible thing that happened this year.
Yeah. The hits keep coming. But I do want to give a shout out as the year comes to an end to somebody who I felt everybody's been doing their little pandemic videos. I actually recorded my own version of Part of Your World from The Little Mermaid, having the Little Mermaid song, rewriting the words to be a pandemic version. Everybody's been doing some like, oh, I got a great idea for a pandemic joke movie or video or something. But this one Canadian comedian actor, Julie Nolke, I believe is how you pronounce her last name, did a series of 4 videos. The first one, she did one, and then it became such a hit, she added to it. The first video is explaining the pandemic to my past self, which sort of like a time loop video where her self from 2 months into the pandemic shows up to herself right before the pandemic,
right,
and gives her like as much information as she can. She can't give a lot because of the butterfly effect, but she like says, do you have any hobbies you might want, like starts explaining it. Hysterically funny, and it was such a big hit that she then did another one where the herself from 2 months even further in comes to talk to the second one, and then one where the 2 months further in from that talks to the third one, and they're all hysterical. And she just dropped a new one now that the vaccine is here, which caps them off. So there's 4 in all. You can find them by searching "Explaining the Pandemic to My Past Self."
I've not seen these. I got to check that out.
I put the link in the description for this video. This is not a paid promo. I don't know this woman. It's just one of the better creative endeavors to come out of the pandemic. So I thought she should get a shout out.
That's nice. I can't wait to see it.
Do you have any news? Any stuff this week? The wonderful things that happened to you? Terrible things that happened to you that you want to share with? No. We have 5,000 viewers right now.
At this moment. Well, hello everybody. It's so nice of you to tune in.
We don't have 5,000 viewers.
Nothing really to report except it was a lovely Christmas, which I got to spend with you and our mom via Zoom, not in person.
That was lovely.
It was great. It's frustrating not to be able to hang out. But we cooked the same meal. Yeah. I cooked the same sides that you cooked anyway. We agreed on the recipes and they turned out well. I couldn't taste yours, of course, but
we had poultry. I did a turkey. You did a chicken.
I did chicken. That was fun. I got some fun presents for Christmas.
So one of them's right here.
What is that there?
Well, there's a big thing that wraps around the microphone with foam in it to deaden the sound.
Shaving foam or spongy foam?
Spongy foam, and it's articulated around the microphone to give, to deaden the room sound. But then from you in front of it, I don't think people can see it, but there's something called a popper stopper, which should stop my peas from popping. Is it working?
It was working, but you got so close to the mic that you probably blew the mic out. But it's counterproductive.
Okay, whatever.
But it did stop the peas. There wasn't a pea in sight.
It's a whole. Well, that's good. It's more than Jeffrey Dubin.
Hand check. Hand check.
Hand check. Yeah. Another great story from 2020, huh?
2020, yeah, exactly. I'm not sad it's over from that standpoint. There's some funny stuff that we got to laugh at.
Yeah. And then for Mom's birthday, Mom had the birthday which we all celebrated together.
We did a very big birthday.
What was the highlight of that evening for you? I had a great time. I made a coq au vin for Mom, which I never made before.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that I made it because it's, But that was a fun evening. We played
Scattergories.
And
great.
But what was the highlight of the evening for you? Because I know what the highlight of the evening was for me.
The highlight of the evening was playing Scattergories, and the highlight was Mom's.
What it's called?
It's called the Pig Walk Dance.
Pig Walk Dance.
And there was she tried to convince us that there was a dance called the Pig Walk because the letter was P and she had to come up with something.
The name of a dance.
And she said, "Isn't that a dance?" And she tried to convince us that it was. And we said we would not let her have a point unless she showed us the Pig Walk.
The Pig Walk dance. And she did it.
Which she did. And it was a remarkable
video here now.
I do too. That would have been good to capture.
Because that video.
She wanted that point. She wanted that point and she got it. Got that point.
That video might have been it's possible that video, if we had it, would be more worthy of critical discussion than the movie we're going to be talking about tonight.
It is entirely possible.
Yeah.
It's objectively true.
I think we have to make a pact with each other if we're going to continue on this show.
You mean just tonight or for all time?
We'll make the pact tonight, but it has to last for all time. And that pact is that we will never again pick a movie that appeared as the in-flight movie during a hijacking in another movie.
I stand by I stand by the concept of swinging to this, as they say.
Yeah, the concept was good.
Good idea. And I think it's safe to say that not even in a pandemic, does this necessarily play today. I don't know that it played in 95. Was it 90? Oh no, 89, 95. I don't have my glasses on. 95.
Okay. Had you ever heard of this movie?
I remember seeing the posters for it.
Hold on. You mean this?
Please bring that up. I do mean that. I do mean that.
A spectacular poster.
When I first saw that, I thought it was Mark Paul Gosselaar. Doesn't it look a little bit like Mark Paul Gosselaar doing with like a Dumb and Dumber haircut?
Yeah. But also, this is photoshopped before they had Photoshop. It's like they had, this is some other boy.
Yeah, no, he doesn't look like that. He doesn't look like that. He's a much more handsome kid, good-looking kid. Yeah. This is not a great picture of him.
No.
What is this movie? Let's tell people what we're talking about.
Well, hold on. That is all we need to see of that.
It's from 1995.
Yes.
It's called Born to Be Wild, directed by John Gray, written by screenplay by John Bunzel. I hope I'm saying that correctly. With a very interesting group of actors.
A really interesting group of actors.
Like a very surprisingly interesting, talented group of people.
Spectacular actors.
I don't know. I think this may have been like a package deal. I think CAA had a special, and they were like, okay.
They represented the ape, and so the ape had to
packaged it. Movie. They just packaged it, and they were just like, you guys got to do this movie.
Is this the Planet of the Apes origin story? Like the learning of the sign language is at the beginning of that whole Planet of the Apes saga with.
I'm curious why you'd ask me that. I don't know. I wouldn't know that.
Oh.
It could be. It kind of reminds me of the reboot with James Franco that started the new Planet of the Apes chain.
That they learned sign language and
so yeah, this movie's got it stars Will Horneff. Is that correct? I don't have my glasses near me right now, and I've worn them all day, so I'm gonna say things wrong. I'm just gonna say right now. Starring Warren Harniff, Helen Shaver, John C. McGinley, Peter Boyle is in this movie.
Yeah,
a young and virile Titus Welliver, and who else? We've got Obba Babatunde.
Spectacular in
it. Many people.
I am going to note, though, you said Peter Boyle, and the movie is 1995, and the following year, Peter Boyle started a run in a long-running, very successful TV series called Everybody Loves Raymond. And I suspect he made a little bit of bank in that.
Mm-hmm.
And had that money, I venture to guess he might not have done this movie if he knew that.
Well, it couldn't be that. I mean,
he's going to make billions.
He didn't have the money to bury this movie. I'll tell you that much. It's still here. It's still here. Okay, my reaction. You want to hear my reaction?
Sure, why not?
Okay, the movie starts, and I'm like, oh, look at all these people. There's so many good people in this movie.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, it really is going to be about this a gorilla. Okay. And it's a fake gorilla. All right. Pretty good gorilla. Like,
at the beginning,
good gorilla. Like, I'm thinking, good gorilla. Nice. Good job.
They had the capture. I thought maybe we're in for a good ride here.
Had the money for a gorilla who, it wasn't Rick Baker. It wasn't like a Rick Baker level gorilla suit, but it was quite good. Yeah. Believable enough to get me through a movie.
Yeah.
People can kind of act in this movie. Like, the kid's good. He's a good young actor, like solid. He can do the emotional stuff. And then about 10 minutes in, you're just stunned into silence, into a kind of chasm of brain death that makes it impossible to write a note about it or think
I
of.
wrote some notes.
Did you? I found that difficult. I wrote the word "why" very big in very large letters.
Okay, I wrote the opening makeup and the capture is pretty good. Like it set you up for an issue that might be interesting at the very beginning.
Okay. Yeah.
And I thought, okay. And then I wrote, might have been more fun if it had stayed somewhat realistic. Like if they had really gone with
You're being too kind.
Well, if they had really gone with the realism of what it might have been like, a little more realism instead. First of all, I'm still trying to parse why a juvenile female gorilla has the same behavior patterns as a vaudevillian old Jewish man. Because it was a little bit like you're watching, some who was the
George Burns.
George Burns in a gorilla suit.
Yeah, there were moments like that, and yet that's not even remotely what the problem is, because the gorilla did work. Like the good jokes with it worked. I think the problem is that it's just a montage for the most part. Most of this movie, an hour of it, is a montage of this young teenage boy hanging out with a gorilla in a van.
Which for us is like Tuesday.
Well, yeah. I mean, show business. Come on. But Helen Shaver plays his mom, right? Helen Shaver's a wonderful actor. She convincingly plays a scientist, a gorilla scientist, which is the technical term for what she is, I've heard.
A gorilla scientist?
Yes, that's the kind of scientist she is.
Okay.
And her son runs away with the monkey, steals it out of the laboratory, disappears.
You don't buy
that?
No,
I bought that.
Okay.
What I found interesting was that they go off and spend, a 10-minute montage here about a food fight in the van, and then a 10-minute scene about the monkey hiding from a police officer in the van. Many scenes like this. You can see the theme running here, right? Yeah. And yet at no point did anybody think that they'd cut back to Helen Shaver going, where did my son go? He's run away, or he's been killed, or something terrible's happened. She's completely gone. She has one scene where she shows up for the press, completely unconcerned that her son is missing. And then you find out that he's 14 and isn't possible to have he doesn't have a driver's license. Clearly, he's been breaking the law. He's been making federal offense after federal offense through this film, and it's not right that a child do that in a movie. It's not okay.
Right. Okay. I'll buy that. I'll buy all of it.
It's not my full assessment. I mean, it's a thing of wonder too. It really is. It's a thing of wonder. I wondered why. I'm kind of like, who's this for? Who's this movie for? It was, some of it seems like it was tuned for, high school kids. Right. And then, but they wouldn't want a gorilla movie, would they? They'd want a different kind of movie.
I mean, it was PG. Right.
Yeah, it's a kids. I mean, it's definitely a kids movie, and you got to adjust your vision for that. Clearly, I don't see a lot of kids movies. I mean, I really don't.
I did, because I had those.
You're a dad. You've seen lots of them. So, did this feel like it was?
No. No,
it didn't fit into that period of kids movies in the 90s.
No, not for me. No.
What happened? Why did things happen?
It's the script where it falls down.
I guess so.
You know,
I think they edited. I think things got cut out too. I mean, I think there was a scene where Helen Shaver is, where's my son? I think they cut it out.
No, probably.
In lieu of having a scene about M&Ms.
You didn't like that.
I'd be interested to know how the shoot was, you know, like, because the young man who plays the kid, Will Horneff, he's good, but he seems like he's too old. He's kind of too hip to do this. He looks like he's kind of rather be doing War Games or something else.
Yeah.
And I can understand that wrestling with a gorilla, with what was another man in a gorilla suit, for that young actor must have been tough to do that week after week.
Yeah. Well, and you said that thing about the montage, and one of the comments that I wrote is Katie drives, Katie goes in the water, Katie goes to the joke truck, like
Katie gets wet. Yeah,
Katie isn't here. Katie's doing this. The one scene stood out to me though, which was a Normo burger, but it stood out because you know me, right? And if you told me there was a place called a Normo Burger in Ohio,
you'd have been there.
I'd say road trip. Let's go.
Yeah. You know, you would have passed by on your trip here
on my driving. I would have stopped if I was driving down the highway and passed a Normo Burger.
Oh, definitely.
Get off at the next exit and go back.
In fact, we should check and see if there isn't if that's licensable, because it's a great name for a burger, and tied to a remarkable moment in cinema history, as you're about to explain.
People will be,
I mean, you can see it, pictures of the movie up against the wall behind the kitchen, open kitchen.
No, not happening. Okay. But let's pause and give shout outs to some of the terrific actors in it.
I'm not done. Okay, yes, but we're going to go back to this moment, because the moment in Normal Burger is incredible. It is actually a cinematic. It's amazing. A conundrum. What happens? It's amazing. They get the burger. They only have money for one, right?
Yeah.
And the gorilla it's clowning around in the van like they do when you're on a cross-country trip, because they get frustrated. They're in a van all the time.
Yeah. I mean, I've said to my gorilla countless times, I'm going to turn this van around.
Both hands. Show your hands. Sorry. Yes. They behave miserably on road trips. And the gorilla steals the cheeseburger and eats it. And the kid doesn't get to have a hamburger.
Yeah.
And the kid's like, wah, wah, wah. There's kind of a wah, wah. And then they dissolve and they're at the beach. And they're hanging out at the beach, on this beautiful beach. And no point does the gorilla have a leash or any kind of restraining device of any kind.
Why would he need one?
She wouldn't need one.
Sorry.
She's passive, but you don't know. You'd want to make sure that it was safe, but he didn't seem to care. At any rate, the gorilla, how do we say this? Burps, and the young man, Rick, is the character's name, gets violently upset and breaks up with the gorilla, leaves, walks away.
Yeah,
angrily, like very upset.
Well, the gorilla ate his burger.
Okay, but it was as if
with you over that.
It was as if, well, the timing was weird though, because he was fine about that, and then the gorilla literally, it was like bad manners or something. The kid had it, and then walked away. Yeah. And I was so interested in the behavioral part of this. I was like, this is weirder than a Bergman movie. This is so strange.
was when the gorilla then goes into the water,
falls in from a great falls in, yeah.
And Rick is Katie, yeah. And then there's the gorilla hand thrust. Is that a visual reference to some other movie? The hand coming out of the water, because it was such an odd shot.
Well, I instantly thought of The Third Man with Orson Welles. I mean, who doesn't in a moment like that?
Okay, yeah.
It's also kind of a reference, maybe.
It's hard to watch an ape movie without thinking of Orson Welles.
It is. Mighty Joe Young being, the size equivalent was right on there. I think that was also the moment where I was like, wow, there's now a guy in a gorilla suit acting in a gorilla suit drowning in the Pacific Ocean. Because that's not a thing that's not something they're designed to do, is swim. Yeah. And the footage of him dragging that sad gorilla out of the ocean.
Sad, wet gorilla suit out of an ocean.
I was like, boy, the magic of movies, the glamour of it all. And I thought, this poor young guy, Will Horneff, ready to go, ready to be a leading man and go off and break hearts, Tiger Beat, and be on 21 Jump Street or something, Yeah. And he gets a leading role in a movie, and he spends it entirely in a van with a guy in a monkey suit.
He goes for it at the end, though. In that last scene, when
he's good in it, he's good. He cries.
He's good in that scene. He cries real tears.
Yeah, he sells it, and he sells the transition from callow, thoughtless youth to more noble, thoughtful young man. He sells that. It's poorly edited to convey that. His performance is hampered, I think, by some ham-fisted editorial work.
And just a horrible a script that is not.
Well, it's just, it's the kind of movie that you're like, I don't know. And for all I know, this was a labor of love. Like, maybe it was. I don't know. Maybe people just loved it, but it feels like the studio went, I don't know, we got a gorilla movie. Who get that guy who made that hockey film and bring him in. He's free. Like anybody who was around, just get him.
Yeah.
And it was kind of felt like some of it felt like an episode of Matlock,
a bad episode of Matlock,
or a good one.
Nice. Okay, can we talk about some of the wonderful actors in this, though?
Please. There's so many really amazing actors in this movie. That's one of the funniest things about it, is how this is the cast of a much more serious, drama. Like, you wouldn't expect this to be the cast of some silly 90s coke fueled, kids movie. But who's some of the standouts?
Gregory Itzin, who plays the sheriff in that, is a spectacular actor, a member of, he works at South Coast Rep all the time. He's a member of Antaeus Theater Company, I believe, out in LA. And he's just a character actor who's been around forever. You see him in everything.
Is he the sheriff who doesn't see the gorilla in the van?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a funny scene.
He's a spectacular actor. Troy Evans, who plays the farmer with the shotgun.
Right.
Who's now on Bosch, as is Titus Welliver, who plays the detective.
Amazing to see Titus Welliver as such a young dude, with the head of hair that just went like, bam.
Yeah. And it's the Bosch origin story. This not exactly, very different.
That's why
very
so serious. Yeah, man, he's
Troy
great.
Evans plays Barrel. of Crate and Barrel. It's not his real name, but he and his partner are referred to as Crate and Barrel because one of them's tall and skinny, and the other one's like, you know, and Troy Evans, and they're two cop partners on Bosch. Peter Boyle, obviously.
Peter Boyle, yeah.
Burton Gilliam, who plays Dwayne, he's got that one scene, the guy with the joke truck.
Oh yes, yeah, he's great in so many things.
Saddles, right?
Yeah,
you see him in all kinds of things. John C. McGinley.
I know John C. McGinley,
and Alan Ruck. You know, the wonderful Alan Ruck, who does great work time and time again, and Obba Babatunde.
Yeah. Did you mention Thomas Wilson?
I didn't mention which one. Who's he?
He's in Back to the Future. He plays Titus Welliver's partner.
Oh, right. He plays the bad guy in Back to the Future, right?
Yeah, the teen. Well, bad guy. He's a teenager, but yeah,
right. A little tone deaf in the casting of Obba Babatunde.
So weird, dude. I know.
Not okay. Like
not okay. Like he's the only person. He's the only person of
American.
Yes, in the movie.
The guy who can do sign language with the girl.
I mean, there were extras and people and tiny, you know, in the background who were black, but he was the only representative, and he's translating for the gorilla, and I was like, this is not
like, no, that's not okay.
We shouldn't do that.
No. And hopefully if they were making that movie today, they would notice that.
They would maybe notice that, but he did a great job. He was good in the scene.
Yeah.
Who was the guy who played the angry lawyer who was cross-examining the gorilla? Because in case there's anybody out there who decided that they wanted to listen to us talk about this movie, they do go to trial at the end, and the gorilla does take the witness stand. It takes takes the stand and defends itself in court. Yeah.
How was your week?
My week has been great. My week has been really good. It's just funny. It's like this is like, you know what? I feel like this was maybe the studio was really true, because this is not a Disney movie. This is the kind of movie that Disney would have known how to put these pieces together, I think.
Yes.
I think they would have gotten the flavor balance correct.
Yes.
In terms of, you know, the age of the kid, the fact that, you know, who is he? Maybe if he's old enough to drive a van, then that audience who wants to see a kid driving a van won't want to see a kid play wrestling with a gorilla for 45 minutes. Like, that's just a different audience.
Right. The other thing that was weird to me was that his love interest, the girl
who sparks him on the adventure, almost, who kind of ignites his curiosity in anything the animal world.
Am I wrong? But does she seem like 3 years younger than him?
I assumed she was much younger. Yeah, she does seem 3 years younger.
That at that age, it's an inappropriate relationship.
Was it love interest though, or were they just friends?
They kiss at the end of the movie on the lips.
It is strange. That's strange. She seemed like 3 grades different.
Yeah.
And he's driving a van and like saying, "Screw you, Mom," and he's going to go to juvie
van illegally, but still, he seemed a different. If that was my daughter, I'm with the guy who played her dad in the movie. Like,
well,
no,
we know that's where you stand anyway. I mean, even if he was a total charmer, you'd be like, "Get out of here, you!"
Why I oughta.
I'm in my bathrobe, but if I weren't, we'd be tiggling.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
I'm like that with Abigail's boyfriend.
But see, that's where the movie's also weird, because they were kind of pushing this, like he was a troubled kid. Like his mom was going to send him to military school. Like he was in trouble and he was bad and he's going to run away from home and take a van and steal a gorilla. I mean, that's pretty heavy.
Yeah.
And he didn't seem to have a care in the world. They didn't have any. They had like $13 that his girlfriend gave. See, he also took money from her.
He took money from her.
And used her connections.
Can you explain the whole device of when? So he goes up the coast. He goes all the way up the coast to meet up with her crazy uncle who lives near the Canadian border.
Yeah.
Maybe smuggle the gorilla across.
Who's John C. McGinley.
Who's John C. McGinley. And they get to John C. McGinley's house, and the yard is filled with Greco-Roman statuary.
Mm-hmm. I know. Yes.
He's a junk collector. I get that he's a junk collector, right? That's what he does.
I thought he made those statues, but maybe I'm wrong.
He made the Greco-Roman.
Well, how many junk? I mean, even a junk collector is not going to have like 17 Greco-Roman statues on his farm in.
It was one of the
Canadian border.
Strangest pieces of production design I've ever seen.
But you know why it was what it was all about, though. It was all for that gag. There was a gag where the gorilla pretends to be a statue in the van.
Oh, that's right. It was all a set of. Okay.
So they cover it with white, like talcum powder to look like a marble statue and have it freeze.
Yeah. Fantastic.
And that all of that was setting up that joke, I think.
Then make the guy a statue maker.
I think that's what he was.
But they call him a junk collector, I think.
Wasn't that making... Oh, okay. Well...
I thought that's what they called him. I could
look. This is one of the great mysteries of the movie. It's a very David Lynch world that we enter here, and there is no escape. There's no escape.
The train, the drive in front of the train, very exciting.
That was exciting. It was competently made and shot. It looked like a studio movie. You know, I mean. Some
of the car work was pretty good.
How do driving?
Yeah, some of the car chase stuff was.
Oh yeah, I thought you meant the Teamsters, like getting to work, driving you to work. They were on it.
Yeah, I thought that the Teamsters were great.
Craft service was excellent in this.
Brian Jesuit. We do have one fan out there, Brian Jesuit, who's wondering if Adam Arkin will be here this time. So it's good to know that we are disappointing some of our viewers, at least.
Well, how could it not be disappointing? I mean, for goodness sakes, do we ever not know how you feel?
Yeah.
He'll be back. How could he not want to be here? How could he not want to be here with us to talk about this film, for instance?
I think he wishes he saw it.
He probably auditioned for this movie.
Yeah.
He probably auditioned for Titus Welliver's part, is my guess.
Yeah.
So
are you going to write about this movie in your bullet journal?
It's already in the bullet journal.
It's in the bullet journal.
It's logged in the bullet journal.
So you started your bullet journal already.
Mm-hmm.
I've sort of set mine up, but I'm gonna start it on the 1st, the day after tomorrow.
I set mine up, and I figured I'd start when I had it set up and just keep going. I'm very excited about it.
What accessories or paraphernalia have you gotten for your bullet journal?
I got the recommended the journal itself is the recommended Liechtenstein 4000.
The Luftwaffe. Yeah.
The Luftwaffe 9000. This is an important thing to have.
Yeah.
No lines in it, just dots.
Just the dots, right? That's what I have.
Which is what they recommend.
Yeah.
And it's already got the numbers in it, so that's nice. You don't have to number the pages.
Pages are numbered. Metal stencil ruler placeholder.
I haven't picked that up yet, but I do have some. I do art stuff, so I have little rulers and stuff. Yeah. And I mean, it's already working its little bullet magic on me.
Magic, yeah, mine too has changed the way I'm looking at and thinking.
It literally has. I mean, I'm not, it's not huge, but enough for me to go, wow, this is just a few days of this, and already I really like the book itself. Like, I keep on using it and looking forward to kind of checking in with it,
Yeah. We need to make a little short announcement here. This is not a paid promotion. There we go.
No, this isn't a paid promotion. This is literally just a cool thing that you found and told me about, and I'm really glad you did, because
I made fun of me when I told you about it.
I did make fun of you.
I think you made a little bit of fun of me.
I probably did. Yeah.
And then you looked it up and you were like, came sheepishly back, like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I got
it doesn't sound, I mean, there's nothing about it when you tell somebody about it that makes them excited. Well, you said something about you must have said something that got me excited, because I went and looked it up.
I made fun of the guy who told me about it.
Did you?
Yeah. I still make fun of him, but for other things.
Okay. Well, as you should.
What about washi tape? Have you
that I haven't gotten yet. I don't have washi tape. I ordered some nice fine liner felt tip non-streaking ink pens, and the tape I haven't gotten to the chapter about how to use it yet, so I don't know.
There's nothing in the book about
this is just like a homecrafties.com said they sent a little video to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And you can do different. Well, my friend who told me about it, he told me about the tape. The guy who turned me on to the bullet journal.
So the tape works as index tabs or what?
He has this sort of ultra thin tape, and he, instead of drawing lines, uses this. That sounds a little labor intensive to me.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that.
I'm not going to do that with this. I ordered some thicker tape that's about I ordered one that's 10 and one that's 15 centimeters wide, so about like that. And one thing that I saw on one of the videos that you told me about, because I didn't know about the videos, is that you can, if there's a section of the book that you want to highlight, you can take one page and you put the tape on it and fold it over so it becomes an edge. And that sort of, you can look at the book and see, oh, there's that section, there's that section, there's that section. So it's not really a tab. It's a.
Why does it have to be special tape to do that?
What?
Why does it have to be special tape to do that?
Because it's washi tape.
What does washi tape mean?
It's a Japanese word
for Scotch tape.
No, it's not Scotch tape. It's look at washi tape online.
Okay.
They have all.
I don't want to bore our listeners with me looking up washi tape, but
Tony, it's all different designs.
I don't know if I'm doing washi tape or not, but I am into pens and colored pens, so I'm probably going to do some
into pens.
I'm into pens now. Yes, I'm in Continentia.
You are into pens,
colored pens, different kind of designs that I could do with that. I'm looking forward to playing with it.
You're very talented artistically. You're a fantastic artist, and you draw. I am not going to draw in my bullet journal because it would be bad.
You could develop a system of goal-oriented tasks, though, to become a draw, and you could chart it in your new bullet.
In my new book, that's true. It could be a goal. I did order a whole bunch of stencils that will do different layouts for me.
That's smart. I mean, yeah. Because knowing exactly how to, I already did days of the week, and I counted the the lines wrong, so they're not,
Oh no.
But it works, It's not always pretty, but it works.
I have a feeling it's a system that's going to develop like the way we do our bullet journals in 6 months or a year is going to be completely different than the way we set them up now.
It is, because I'm going to hire somebody else to do all of it. I'm going to save the money on that tape and just get an intern and not do any of it. Not to know anything.
I think it's safe to say that this is maybe in some ways one of our worst episodes.
I feel a little critiqued right now because I'm half of what's going on here. So I just want you to remember that.
Great job. You're doing a great job. It's not
literally half of the show, and you just said it's the worst.
It's what we picked, but I want our listeners to know that however bad this episode is, it's better than the movie that we're discussing.
I think that if I'm going to be totally honest, I had a very busy week this week. It was, I think, a major holiday.
There was a big holiday. And our mother's birthday.
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot going on, and it was the kind of movie that I kind of wish that I had done more research on than anything we talked about. Like, I wish I'd read a book about this movie and studied every other movie director did, like really, really thought about it. That would have been great. And I feel like
there isn't a book about this movie.
I would have written a book about it.
Okay.
Because I think that would have been a good way to spend some time.
Yeah.
And I think that there are probably a lot of connections to make here. I think, for instance, late last night, as I was kind of online obsessively looking at IMDb about this movie before I went to sleep, I found, but was too tired to write it down, that there was somebody who worked on this that worked on Executive Decision, which was the reason we chose this, because it was on the airplane. And that clicked, and I went, oh, there's probably a few interesting connections here I could find but I didn't. I was lazy and tired, and I just was all pandemiced out, and I couldn't do it.
I get it.
Born to Be Wild speaks for itself. I mean, it really does. I felt for everybody in it. But I knew it was a big studio movie, so everybody got paid,
Yeah.
And maybe it was a big hit. Maybe kids really, really liked it. Although, again, I was a big kid when this came out, and I didn't even hear about it.
Yeah, I never heard of this movie. Granted, I did not have kids at the time this movie came out. My kids were born a couple of years later. My first kid.
My biggest complaint with this film is that Steve Guttenberg isn't in it. And I really feel
you don't know that he wasn't in it. He may have had an uncredited role as one of the apes in the beginning of the
possible. Movie. It's totally possible. I'm sorry he wasn't visibly in it, though, because it feels like a Steve Guttenberg film.
Yeah.
Like, I think that if you can think of the part of the gruff paleontologist that's kind of, mimicking the Jurassic Park paleontologists. This is my cat. Hey, buddy.
Hey.
Thanks for making an appearance.
Yeah.
Talk about Born to Be Wild. All right. You can get down now. Thank you. Thanks for coming by. Okay. I just felt like there was room for Guttenberg in there.
Yeah.
And I think that would have been the melted cheese that would have brought all these components together.
All the way. Yeah.
I think so.
I think you're right. Well, have we exhausted this film?
I'm exhausted.
If we exhausted this film as much as it has exhausted us.
I don't think there's any point in belaboring it. I mean,
I have I use a sort of a format for my notes, and I have slots for favorite line, favorite moment, scene, least favorite shots. They're blank.
I want to show you my my notes. Okay, this is the page of notes, and it starts. I do that because I write in the dark.
I saw
and
witty in the witty question mark you have on there.
My first, I have the name of the movie, Born to Be Wild, and it says, "What is a flea market?" Angrily, because there's 2 question marks, and I wrote, "What is a flea market?" Because it's a gag that comes up a couple of times. Titus Welliver's partner in the movie asked the question as a joke a couple of times. I didn't know. I didn't understand why they were constantly going back to that joke.
What is
very
a
strange
market versus what is a swap meet?
Right. And then I wrote a line, and then under that line I wrote in big letters, "Why?" question mark. And then I wrote another idea separate from that why.
Yeah.
It was, why did they have a falling out on the beach? I found it very confusing. I said, she burps and he storms off question mark. And then that's it. There's nothing else. I gave up. It just took my soul and crumpled into a piece of paper.
There you go. All right. Well, then next week though should be better.
We're on our game next week. Next week is going to be
next week. The
Bone
Collector, starring Denzel and Angelina.
It's a big movie, and I'm excited.
Angelina, whose father, her dad and I, quite close.
Yeah, we'll fight about that
at a time.
He and I went on a date.
You went on a date with Milo Binder?
Mm-hmm.
Well, how
did that? It was just two dudes hanging out to
Yeah, a bro date.
Yeah, went on a date.
Wow, I didn't go on a date with him, but we were pals when I was a little kid on the set of Catch-22.
Well, that's that's exciting. That's more exciting than one date. You hung out with him in Mexico, on the beaches of Mexico.
On the beaches of Mexico, watching
scantily clad, walking through the sandy dunes. Yes,
watching B-25s take off and land. The romance of war.
I just had one.
We were on leave in Rome together.
I just had one crazy carefree night, Matthew. Doesn't compare.
We ate in the Piazza Navona at the restaurant Tre Scalini, and we had tartufo.
Oh, do you know about tartufo?
I know about tartufo. Oh boy, inside family embarrassing.
Inside family jokes, things we just never live down. We can't.
Never live down. All right. So next week, The Bone Collector, starring Denzel Washington and Angelina Jolie.
And we're gonna do it.
It's a very exciting movie. So if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel, like this video, help us keep the lights on. Actually, it doesn't help us keep the lights on. We don't make any money doing this. We do it because it's an excuse for us to hang out together and talk about what we love best, which is the movies.
It's true. And movies with gorillas.
Yeah. Movies with gorillas are some of our
rubber gorillas. We're into it.
Yeah. Some of our favorite things. So good night, everybody. And we'll see you next week. Yay.